You want to continue, or should I?
No, I'm good. Everyone that's on the finance committee, I would like you to tell my camera your full name and what you do for the financial committee, because I'm putting that on our daily news show tomorrow. So please do raise your hand and tell me what you do loudly, please.
Would you like to know what I do in my personal life as well?
No, I have no interest in that. No, we're going to do this right now.
That is a waste of all.
That is not a waste of our time. That's called transparency. This is for us.
I'm sorry.
Okay, so you have absolutely no interest in transparency, right? Every single time I try to get any information about this group and try to disseminate it to the rest of this group, I get shut down. So people are going to give me some fucking names.
Let's diffuse this. My name is Reed Jackson. I have an MBA from Marylhurst, Oregon's University. I have an undergraduate from San Jose State. I have an undergraduate from University of Washington. My professional life, I run a nonprofit agency for people with disabilities who want to live independently and who have care needs. The organization has been in effect for 30 years.
Thank you.
I am not going to share my company's name with you.
That's fine, I don't need it. Anybody else here that's on the finance committee want to give me their full name?
You've never asked me anything about finance, so I didn't know you cared. I'm glad you do.
I do.
Grace Lippman.
Thank you.
I'm a paralegal student, and
Yeah, and I don't have just issues with finance, anything I'm trying to get information about. Thank you.
Okay.
And you.
Okay, can you say your name?
Yeah, it's Brian Howarth.
All right.
And basically where we're at with the sort of organizational structure of Occupy Portland is we are being advised by a tax attorney to make sure that we take care of all of our responsibilities and liabilities as to which structure would be best for us. And then once we gather that information, we can bring that to the GA to kind of discuss, okay, if we are going to be more politically active, we need to make sure that we take care of, that we go with the structure that will allow us to do lobbying. Also, as we discussed talking about the, well, let me continue with that. So there hasn't been, let me clear this up first, is that there has been no structure set up, no paperwork started for any sort of organization. So no 501c3, no 501c4, no state nonprofit organization. And I know that's been a big question for a lot of people, is where, have we already started that? You know, has somebody registered us or something like that? That's not something that we've done.
Right.
So we're still seeking information from the tax attorney, and we'll be getting more of that this Wednesday. So once we have that, we'll be able to correctly advise the people as far as what's going on, because I don't want to spread misinformation. I don't want to just tell you guys what's best for the group without actually seeing a tax professional.
Right.
So, in the meantime, if anybody has any questions, feel free to contact me.
Absolutely.
My phone number is 503-840-0408, and it's brian.howarth@gmail.com. It's brian.howarth@gmail.com. In the meantime, we've also been discussing with Mike the past proposal of the spending committee, and we kind of discussed, how the finance committee will be able to work with the spending committee, and maybe they are the same thing to some degree, like working within a larger committee that has multiple roles, something like that. We're still in the process of talking about that. Maybe there's kind of the legal and liability side of it. There's the the spending side of it that does the budgeting, and then I don't know what the other side would be. There'd be, there's multiple wings to it. So I think the most important thing is that we have to remain unified in it, and that if we don't do that, then we're going to start seeing problems, because we'll see fragmentations and people working against each other instead of with each other. So I don't know. Do you have?
I have one more question. There's question whether we're moving to indoors. There seems to be a rumor going around that a building has already been procured, and that certain members of the movement are planning a move into a building. And so, is that true to your knowledge?
As far as the building is concerned, I've heard that there has been a possible donor who's we are talking with to see if there may be buildings, but I don't really know any of the details of that, and I know that there's been no lease signed, no agreements in that respect. Obviously, as we're looking toward the winter, we're going to see a lot colder weather, so it's worth looking into. But obviously, these things need to be discussed with the GA to find out, kind of what role would that play? Is it simply office space where maybe some of the committees go and do some work and house equipment or something like that, or is it have some sort of living quarters, where people will be able to have people inside? I'm not aware of that. As I get more information, I can relay that.
You are the point of contact for the Financial Committee?
Correct. Yeah,
Okay.
the Finance Committee POC. So,
And you do believe that the General Assembly is a good way and an effective way to communicate between the camp and people off-site?
yeah, I absolutely believe that the GA is the best thing that we have thus far. It's and that's, I guess, a political way to answer that question.
But I would also personally agree that
Right.
it's
We
a
also
structure that exists already.
It is a structure that exists already. We need to sort of define committees' roles in that as well. I think that the process is a little bit. What things do committees decide on their own versus things that get taken to the GA? So that in itself is something that needs to be addressed.
Yes.
If we don't figure that question out, then I don't know really how to proceed. With certain things, we need to just define, like, okay, if it's a financial decision, it's brought before the GA. If it's a structural decision, it's brought before the GA. If it's, if we're going to have, beef and broccoli for dinner versus, stew, then those kind of things can be addressed by the committees. So we've got some work to do, and I think we just need to continue the communication to make sure that nobody's being left in the dark, and we should sort of shut the rumor mill down and, have truth at the forefront of our discussions.
Absolutely. I would agree.
I'm glad that we had this meeting. It's nice meeting you, and I know that we can work through this without any confrontation whatsoever.
Absolutely.
And I look forward to the day that we finally get a certain set system down with checks and balances and transparency, so that we can be a model for the new and even some of the existing occupies that are going through the same thing we're going through.
Absolutely.
So I think we can be a national model of unity.
We already have been, and I'd like to keep it that way.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're doing a good thing here.
Music. So, Micaiah, there's a lot of passions right now. Things are running pretty hot in this whole budget BS. And I'm just curious your perspective. I heard you say a minute ago that you've ran your own nonprofit and you have a little bit of insight that other people might not have. So could you share that with me, brother?
Well, when you establish your own nonprofit, you basically set up your own board of directors. And these are not elected, these are people that you choose. And if you choose to be a nonprofit that does not have group elections or group things, you can literally usurp the authority of, or you basically can be in control of your nonprofit and not let anybody else in. So my fear is if they're going to register for Occupy Portland, which he said he would do, that means there's going to be a board of directors, and they can, and my fear is that they can legally then exclude people and begin to make decisions on their own without using the GA process, which, as they themselves have said, is broken. So what we have here is a group of people who don't believe in the GA process, who are trying to set up, they immediately jumped on Finance Committee when it first came out. Because just like the one percenters, they know that money is power. And so what they're trying to do is usurp the authority of the General Assembly process to create their own nonprofit, and I'm completely against that. This movement isn't about being a nonprofit. It's not about being an organization. It's about being people choosing to utilize their First Amendment rights to come out here and speak freely. And if what I believe this sends a message is that no, you don't have the rights. You have to form a nonprofit, and you will have people like the board of directors speak for you. And I'm completely opposed to that. And I think it puts them in a dangerous situation, because if they create a legal entity, they will probably end up being legally responsible. So I don't think
So you don't even think they're even thinking about their legal culpability.
I don't think they're thinking about the legality of this at all. I have a distinct impression that it's just a group of people that want to control the General Assembly, and they're utilizing legal means to do so, and that's establishing 501c4 nonprofit. And, you know, as we've discussed earlier, you know, you can form a PAC and avoid all these problems. So why don't they want to do a PAC? You know, well, to me it's pretty obvious. They want control. They want authority.
Thanks.